I think people are going to get tired of seeing me go live because I feel like I go live all the time. But you know what? I can't help it. It just seems like it's a lot easier to do this than do a pre planned video. But hey guys, it's me, Shell360, and today it is called Mailbox Goodies because I have a bunch of stuff I got in the mail really recently, and then one thing I got a little bit later. And I wanted to go and show those things because that's what I do. I like to show off my goods. So what we have here are some things from Shawwell 5, some things from Onumania, one thing from Zen Market, and we have something from Yes Asia. And I was just looking for my little knife here. Hey Miranda! So I think we'll go with what's already open and then we will talk about the unopened stuff. Hey! So let's start with some stuff from Shawwell 5 because it's right here on the top. It doesn't take any time to look at it. Shawwell 5, we did, I guess, kind of a trade maybe, and she gave me all these extras and stuff because she's lovely. And then also she did a go for some goods from the Best Choice Minho fan meet. So let me show you the stuff that she gave me and then the stuff that I bought. So it starts with this. This is a Dongwoo card, like a scratch card, I guess. And then she gave me this, which is more of like a postcard type thing. And this is from Elle's Bravo Beautiful, which I know Alex has all of the Beautiful, so that's really cool. Then, because she knows that I'm RM biased, she got me this Dungle Breaker. And then she got me this one, which I love this. He looks terrible, but I love it. And then this pen, which I have not started collecting pens. I keep telling myself I'm going to do it one day, but pens are so expensive. So she gave me this pen, and now that I've got this, I have to get the August D pen, and I have to get J-Hope's pen. Like, I have to buy more pens now, because I can't just have the RM pen by itself. And I gotta try to find a pen for his first mixtape. So thank you for starting me on a path that I don't need to be on. But yeah, this is my first BTS pen, and now I'm going to have to start collecting the other album cover pens. Yay. No, really, like it's a beautiful gift, but it's just like it's like heroin. Once you start, it's hard to stop. All right, so now I'm going to show you the Geo things that I got from Shawwell 5. We're going to start with this. These are the film strips from the Best Choice Minho fan meet. So here's the first, and then here is the second. There weren't a lot of fan goods for the fan meet, so there wasn't a lot to order, but the stuff that was issued is beautiful. And then we have this, which is the Polaroid set. There's the front. There is the back. Opening it up here. I'm just going to show you all the cards real quick. I'm not going to dawdle. So, yeah. He is the cutest thing on two legs. I just love him. I love him. I don't know why he's so perfect, but damn it if he's not. Yes, this is from his latest fan meet. I think these might still be available. I think she got these on... Did she get these on 11th Street? I cannot remember now if she got these on 11th Street or if she got them through another portal. I can't recall, but it was cheaper for her to buy the bundle and then split up the shipping costs than to buy just hers and then other people buy just theirs. So I was lucky enough that she thought of me and allowed me to join her because this wasn't very expensive at all. I think all told, I may have spent about $30 on these goods, which is not expensive comparatively. So that is the Polaroid set. And then I got these two fans. Cute and cute. He only had two looks. He had the blue sweater and he had the black outfit. Those were the only looks that he had for his fan meet. But yeah, I'm really grateful to have that. There were some pins that were for sale too, but again, like I said, I wasn't trying to get in this pin life. She keeps trying to force it on me, and I keep trying to tell her no. So that's that. Next, we have this, which I actually got this from Onumania. And Onumania is a dear and cherished friend here on YouTube. She has given up her YouTube channel this past Christmas. She's just not really into K-pop like she used to. Jungkook's passing really affected her. So she is one of the other people that I was really close to that was very shiny biased. I mean, her channel is Onumania. And so when I was showing everybody my season's greetings on my collection video, this was the year that I kind of skipped. So I had 2015, 2017, 2018. I still don't have 2019, but 2016 was the one I was missing. And I remember that Onumania had unboxed this. So I sent her a DM and I asked her, hey, I know this sounds out of the blue, but would you mind selling this to me? And she said that she would be willing to do it, even though her shiny collection is the collection that she's keeping. So I just can't thank her enough for letting me buy this from her. It's in immaculate condition. Like, it looks brand new, not a stain, not a scratch, nothing. And I'm not going to do a complete unboxing, but yeah, well, if you watched her Secret Santa video, then you'll understand kind of why she's out of it. But yeah, I'm just going to show you real quick. It comes with this, which is the desk calendar. I don't think that this set had a wall calendar. I think it just had this desk calendar. It's a bigger calendar, but still, it's a desk calendar. And then it came with this, which is your, I think this is the diary. Yeah, this is the diary. So this is what you write all your day-to-day stuff in. Then it came with something that I've never seen in a season's greeting before, which is just a photo book. Like, it is literally just a photo book. And then there were the cards that came with the mini calendar cards, which are in the right size. So they're small. And I'm not going to go through all these. Like I said, that's not what this is. Maybe some other time in the future, but not today. But yeah, it's like I said, it's in gorgeous condition. Like, it's hardly been touched since the day that she opened it. And the pictures are stunning. Like, I opened this last night and I went through it, and I just can't believe that I didn't get this when it came out, because it is fantastic. It is so pretty. So thank you so much, Onumania, for selling this to me. And you know, I'm always thinking about you. Anytime things come up, I always wish I had your input. I miss you kind of doing the rundown of the news. I miss you standing boyfriend who no one stands. I just miss you, girl. And so, you know, anything that I can do to be of help to you, you know, just reach out to me. And then lastly, I have this Sin Market thing that I bought. This is an SM Town World brochure. So when SM Town does their tours, they do these tour brochures, which are massive. I've never seen anything this big. So I guess when they went to Japan, they had this, and see, it's got the Japanese characters. Getting this in the mail makes me want to collect them all, because it's so big and so beautiful. So here we go here, and I'm just going to show you why I bought it. Of course I bought it for shiny. I'm not even gonna pretend to tell a lie here. I bought it for shiny. But the pictures here are all really great. Like, just, they're super nice pictures. And this is back when EXO was still 12. So if you are an EXO fan and you like memorabilia, I recommend getting this, because this is during OT12 era. But yeah, really, really nice. And of course, it's back when Henry was still a Super Junior. Oh, sad day. And this is when Jessica was still with SNSD. It's like watching all the kids when they were babies before they all grew up and left home. Oh, sad days. But yeah, we start with Onu here. And I love how it looks like they signed the book. Of course they didn't, because no one would ever have time to sign all these. But yeah. I love it. Don't you love it? I love it. It's so pretty. It's so nice. It is so nice. And then you have Minho looking like an absolute baby. Oh, he looks like such a little kid. But I love him. And then Taemin. A little fresh-faced Taemin. Oh. But yeah, it's the babies. And then, like I said, you know, if you like other groups, they're in here too. Not that I dislike EXO. It's just that I was only flipping through here so I could show you shiny. I'm sorry, guys. And now we have something to open from Yes Asia. So, as you guys know, K-hip-hop is one of my favorite things in the world. And Yes Asia is the hookup for K-hip-hop for me. K-Town For You's got a good amount of K-hip-hop. You know who else has a good K-hip-hop collection? Choice Music. They get a lot of really good stuff that Music Plaza doesn't get, other people don't get as well. Speaking of KR&B, K hip hop enthusiast, I think that's how you say her username. She just did a haul from her trip to LA, and she's got a lot of goodies on her haul. Half the stuff I didn't even know what it was. Like the packaging, I couldn't in the packaging what it is she had. A few things she has, I have too. So it was really cool to see that because it's stuff that you don't see a lot of people collecting and or unboxing here on YouTube. But then there was some other stuff that I have no idea. Never seen it before. And it'll probably be stuff that no one's unboxed on YouTube ever because like I said, I've never seen it before. So let me get my packing slip out of here unless you guys want to send me money. I'm so glad they put enough bubble wrap in here because my box was a little bit dented when I got it out the mailbox. So I was afraid that maybe there'd be some problems, but it looks like they put an adequate amount of bubble wrap here, so we should be okay. All right. Hey, Asen. So we have here, no, this is not what I ordered. What the fuck is this? I didn't order this. Unless she changed her name. What? This can't be right. Is this? No. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, this is not supposed to be Ibada's album. This is supposed to be Bonnie, but this says Bokyun, Shin Bokyun, which I'll have to research that because this is in Planet, but she's never gone by her real name. I don't even know what her real name is because she's never gone by her real name. Huh. Interesting. So I think this is right because it's the right record label. Like that's the main clue is it's the right record label. But yeah, she's never gone by her real name before. So this is different for me. I'm not sure how I feel about that one. Then we have Sleepless In by Epic High. This is a fantastic album. I mean, Epic High always does really quality work, so you really can't go wrong with an Epic High album. But this one in particular, it's just really soothing. And also, I bought it because fuck YG. And this was their first album after leaving YG, so I'm trying to support. You know, I'm always trying to give people a chance when they first leave their big label because that's what they need to keep pursuing their goals. And so, yeah, this is actually the second time that Epic High has left a big label because they used to be with Woollim and then they went from Woollim to YG. So, yeah, they're used to doing it before, but I think they're on their own now. I think they're just them. I don't think they're signed to anybody else. So that'll be interesting to listen to. Then I have this, which I've been pronouncing this as Vincent, but I think this is supposed to be Vincent. I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it. I don't know. You know, whenever they translate things from Hangul to English, it's always weird. And so I'm never quite sure how to pronounce things. Like, it's not even supposed to be Choi Minho. It's supposed to be Choi Minho. It's, like I said, pronunciation is difficult when you're not a native speaker. But yeah, Binchin is how it's supposed to be, but it's spelled Vincent. So what are you supposed to do? Anyway, I really, really liked him on Key's album. And then I did a little research and I realized that he was on like Idol Rap School, something like that. Anyway, the kid's a beast and I really wanted to support him because he has a very unique rapping style. So yeah, I'm very, very excited about this. Then we have this thing here, which I don't even know what to say about this. You know, sometimes you're on YouTube and things just show up and you're like, what is this neat little thing here? Every once in a while, I get like these city pop playlists or I get these KR&B playlists. And one time, just scrolling through my timeline, I got a whole bunch of videos from this group, which is Wee. And it's this picture and just music, nothing else. The picture doesn't even move. And the first time I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. Second time, I'm like, okay, that song is pretty cool too. Then the third time, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm getting this because I just really, really liked it. So yes, Asia had it in stock and I said, why not? So that's why I've got this here. I love the aesthetic. I think it totally matches the sound. And I think that's something that a lot of artists don't really consider is like giving packaging so that if somebody doesn't know who you are, just from looking at the packaging, they have an idea of what it is you're trying to offer them. And I really feel like somebody's going to look at this and the first thing they're going to think is Plastic Love, which is not too far off base. And so I think it's definitely something that artists need to consider is the aesthetics to see if it matches the music, because you can build a fan base that way. You really, really can, because if it wasn't for seeing this image in the thumbnail for the video, I would have never clicked on the video and I would have never kept listening. Yeah, basically it's kind of city pop-ish. I definitely recommend looking it up. Wee wee. And then lastly, of course, we have Spring by Park Bomb, which, I mean, you guys knew I was going to get this. There was no way I couldn't. Park Bomb has been done incredibly dirty over the years. And I was reading an article today and somebody was talking about Park Bomb's face. And they were talking about how her cheeks were just like super duper round and they didn't think it was from derma fillers. And there was a dermatologist in the comments section and she's like, yeah, Bomb doesn't have the type of fillers that a dermatologist would give her. Bomb's got some type of lymphedema. And they were talking about how a lot of times when you see tape behind her ears, it's because it's an acupuncture treatment to help drain the excess fluid from her lymph nodes, but that she's probably got like secondary lymphedema, which is a more severe kind than regular lymphedema, that apparently that they think that she might have had her lymph nodes removed, but she had trauma and scar tissue during that surgery, and that's why. But it was just really interesting to me because for years, people have torn up her face. And Bomb has told people before, you know, I've been sick, I have lymph issues, and that's part of the reason why my face is so puffy. But people are like, no, it's because you're trying to cut yourself up to look like whatever. And yeah, Bomb has had some actual plastic surgery before. This we know for sure. Like, she's had her breasts done. I think she's probably had a little work done to her butt just recently. And she's had her lips done because her lips didn't used to be as full. Her lips have always been full, but they weren't as full before. But yeah, netizens still to today, even though she was doing so well on the charts, are like, I can't believe she'll show her face and look at her, she looks terrible, she looks like a plastic surgery nightmare, and you know, this drug addict should be ashamed to be in public. And it is like, when are y'all gonna let that shit go? When are people gonna let that shit go? You know, here you have somebody on YG who is pimping hoes, and his friend group is videotaping the women they're sleeping with, and all this other stuff is like, why? Why is it that she, over some fucking Adderall, is the one that you guys want to continue to hound and harass, when there's so many other people who deserve nothing but your animosity, who deserve nothing but your scorn? But this woman who has apologized and apologized and apologized, you want to keep treating her bad. And you totally ignore the fact that she had a prescription. It may have been in another country, but she had a prescription. But, you know, nothing's ever good enough for people. And it's just like, you know what? If they won't support you, baby girl, I will. Because I know what the struggle's like. I know what it's like to try to get back on your feet and put on a brave face when the world has treated you like crap. Speaking of people who get treated like crap and the world has treated them poorly and made fun of them, Britney Spears recently checked into a mental health facility. The mental health facility that she checked in was because her father's been ill. And she just needed some time to focus on herself, because I guess she could feel that, you know, the pressure of dealing with an ill parent, a parent who's been very protective of you and who rescued you from the brink when she was with that Sam, whatever his face is. She just couldn't deal with it. So she needed to be with healthcare professionals, and she's taking 30 days to kind of focus on that. And it's amazing to me how when Britney Spears was shaving her head and beating cars with umbrellas, everybody was content to sit and watch and laugh. And I'm not going to act like I wasn't one of them. But that was the beginning of a really bad period of a few years for her. You know, it was the end of her marriage to Kevin Federline, which was probably entered into when she was in a manic state. She got caught up with this con artist who had her out there looking drugged up, singing Give Me More on the VMAs. Like, just a lot of bad things happened for Britney, even though the Blackout album is a fantastic album. Don't sleep. But to know that today, some 12 years later, Britney is given the support to go and check herself into a mental hospital voluntarily. And people aren't making fun of her for that. People aren't treating her like something's wrong with her. There's no shame in her being able to treat herself. That says a lot about the way that pop culture has moved. And I hope that Bomb continuing to put herself out there, continuing to make music, continuing to, fight what the naysayers have to say is going to give other people in Korea the chance to open up about their struggles. If it's ADHD, ADD, whatever it is, and be more open about it. And hopefully in 12 years from now, if somebody has an Adderall prescription, they can go on television and talk about it. That's what I'm hoping happens. Just like I hope that Jonghyun passing away leads people to feel comfortable to seek therapy, and for therapists to not turn you away and say, well, that's just how you are. Like when Shiny came back as OT4, they told everybody, we're in therapy because we have PTSD from dealing with losing one of our brothers. And I feel like there is room for change. I just want to see when that's going to happen. And it's, to me personally, just because I'm a bystander, it feels like it's not happening fast enough in Korea. But shit, 12 years seems like it flew by here in the States for us to finally get to the point where you don't have to be ashamed to say that you need help. So, maybe it doesn't seem fast to me because I'm over here, but, in America, it seems like it was just the other day that people were making fun of Britney Spears, and now people are rejoicing that she's getting the help she needs. So, that's my soapbox for the day. Anywho, we haven't opened any of these albums, so I feel like we need to open these albums. Somebody said that Park Bom's album is really dark, and they were not lying. Yeah, this is a lot. This is very, very dark. She still looks like a doll, though. I find this pose to be very awkward. I don't know why. She looks like I am not a robot. I am not a robot. And that's not me making fun of her. It's because of the way her hands are. Like, if you look at this picture, look at how her hands are. That looks like robot hands. So that's interesting pose. This one's much more natural looking. Alrighty, from the video shoot. These pictures are super dark. I don't know who made that particular creative choice. I would have preferred something a little bit lighter, but I get it. I think she's still very self-conscious about things. People have also been picking on her weight lately, but Bomb is a woman in her 30s, and I want to say she's in her mid-30s maybe. So anybody who wants to pick on her weight, fuck you. Age is age. So this is the photo card that I got in my album. I don't know if you can see it very well. Hopefully you can. It's a very dark photo card. It's beautiful, but it's a very dark photo card. And it is very thin. Has anybody else gotten this album and noticed how thin the photo card is? It is like not regular photo card thickness. You see how I'm able to like wave it like this? Because it's very, very thin. So there you go. Well, listen, Taran, if this is the photo card that you wanted, I'm willing to trade you for yours because I think your photo card is hilarious. It's so funny. So let me go back up here and look at some of these comments you guys have. Ashley is happy for me to start collecting pins. And then Miranda had some nice things to say about Onumania. Mason is on here. Shaw 5's on here. Miranda said she didn't know that was the second time they left a company. Epic High has had some ups and downs. They really have. While we're talking about them, let's just open their album. Epic High's had some ups and downs. Definitely probably the worst of it has been for Tableau. Tableau got a degree from, is it Yale? I think it might be Yale that he went to school at. I don't recall. But Kay Netizens spread a lie saying that he had made up his degree, that he was lying about his degree. And it took years for people to actually understand that he was telling the truth. Stanford. Okay, Stanford. for people to understand he was telling the truth. And in that time, he couldn't work. Epic High really couldn't work together as a group. It affected a lot of things. And it was during the time that I think his wife was pregnant with their daughter. And so, I mean, netizens really hurt him in a big way. And the people that hurt him, they never really adequately apologized. And still to this day, people accuse him of being a liar, even though the school has even said, yes, he went here. Yes, he was a student. Yes, he graduated. But, you know, I say all that to say Epic High's been through a lot. But their time with YG was a really productive time for them. And I don't think that they left YG because they weren't able to produce. Me personally, I have my suspicions as to why they left YG. So it comes with this kind of poster thing here. And then this is the back. I'll be honest with you, I think this is a waste. I probably wouldn't have put this in here. I probably would have added something else. This probably could have been a lyrics poster. I think, personally, if I had to guess, I think the reason why Epic High left YG is because Epic High had their own label at YG, and they were managing artists. And I think they got frustrated with the fact that YG gave them the power to have artist management, but then wouldn't let them release as much product as they wanted to. And personally, I could see that frustration. I would be frustrated too. If you gave me a job and you're like, you're going to be in charge of making sure the girls get dressed for the fashion show. And then I put all the clothes together. I've got all the accessories bundled. I'm ready to get out there. And like, you know what? We've decided to postpone the show for next season. And I'm like, so you mean in another 3 or 4 months? What am I supposed to do with everything I've prepared? Well, just hold on to that. And then I'll go through and I'll pick the things I like. And then that may go into next season's collection. Unless, of course, I decide that I don't want to release it next season either. And I think that kind of postponement, when you've been promised something and then somebody doesn't deliver or they change the terms on you at the last minute, I don't think Epic High is the kind of group that can appreciate something like that. I think they're the type of group that's like, if you're a man of your word, you need to be a man of your word. These lyrics are almost impossible to read because of the color of the print and the paper. But yeah, I think that they thought that YG was a man of his word. It turns out he wasn't. And they were like, you know what? Fuck you. So that's why I think they left YG. I don't think it was a matter of them not having a home. I think it was more of them saying, you know what? If I want to just sit around and wait, then I'll sit around and wait on my own dime. And so that's the reason why I feel the need to support them. I do. I think YG creates sub-labels just to give people shit to do. And then they're like, okay, but even though you have a sub-label and we're making you in charge of managing your artist and doing what you need to do with your artist, you still have to go through us when it's time to decide who gets to release their albums, mixtapes, whatever. And that's when you see the real YG come out. I'm like, we're not ready to release that right now. Or hang on a little bit. We're working on somebody else's project. We'll get to you when we get to you. And I don't think that Tableau and the rest of Epic High are the kind of people who want to wait. I think they're like, if you promise us something, damn it, you better deliver. So that's what I think happened with them. So where was I? I was answering Miranda's question. So KR&B Enthusiast says, OMG, love her. I'm planning to get her album too. So I think she's talking about Wee Wee. And Mason says, so it's city pop, but from a Korean artist. Kind of. I would say kind of. Okay, so Miranda was saying, I did not know. She said she had lymph node disease and that they removed, and she had PS on at least her lips, breast, and eyes, I think. Yes, Bomb having plastic surgery. People ain't shit sometimes, just like YG. Absolutely. People treating Bomb terrible is just, man, fuck those guys. Mason says, I'm on Yes Asia, and the people who bought Wee Wee also bought section is literally everything in this haul from Yes Asia. Because I probably am the only person who bought Wee Wee's album on Yes Asia. So yeah, it's all my haul. Miranda says, Bomb didn't even do drugs. I wish people would understand. She takes that with a prescription for treatment from trauma from her soccer teammate dying on the field in front of her. And then she mentioned about Britney Spears didn't know she was having a relapse. And Miranda didn't know about Shiny saying that they were getting therapy. Tarian's here. Okay, just making sure. I wanted to make sure I caught up with everything. So yeah, I've caught up with all the comments now. Don't want you guys to think I'm ignoring you. So here's Wee Wee's album, which I know it's not signed. I know it's not signed, but doesn't it look like it's signed? It looks like it's signed. It's like a, I don't know how to describe it. It's thick, but it's not like it's embossed. I don't know how to describe it. It almost feels like it's a pin on there, but it's not. Oh wow, look at this. It comes with little anime stickers. That's really cool. Okay. I like that. That is really neat. That is really cool. I love it. I love it. And I'm not a big sticker person, so don't get me wrong. But I just love how like it's in keeping with the theme because it's number one nostalgic for like the anime style, but number two, it's nostalgic for like the generation that they believe is going to be getting this album is also the generation that used to collect stickers. So it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing about like nostalgic for the styling, nostalgic for the actions, like everything is going to come together. So there you go. And then we have this here. So it doesn't look like there's a lyrics book at all. There are some production notes here, but no lyrics. It's just a digipack, just a really simple digipack, but it's still very beautiful. And for those of you who don't know, Wee Wee is a duo. So that's why you got two people here. And that's why you have two signatures right there. But yeah, that is really cool. I like that quite a bit. I feel kind of nervous about keeping these stickers in here though, because this is a digipack, so they can't really stay in here. I'm gonna have to figure out a solution to that because once I turn it sideways, I don't want the stickers to fall out, you know? So that's a thing. All right, next we're at Binshin's album. So front and back. It's a jewel case. I'm not expecting very much from it, but you know, I just want to make sure that I have this. Yes, they are singers. They're not rappers or anything. They're singers. They are singers, lady singers. And it's spelled wee wee like French. Wee wee like French. Oh my gosh. I hope you guys got what I meant by that when I say wee wee like French. Let's see. I'm terrible at opening jewel cases. I am the absolute worst. I used to be like a master jewel case opener back in the day, but now I'm so used to K-pop packaging being so extravagant and everything else, I've forgotten how to open these things. So I guess that's supposed to look like a painting or like an oil. I guess it's supposed to look like an oil painting. I guess that's what that's supposed to be. And then you've got the CD, which looks a lot like the cover, in my opinion. Looks a lot like the cover. And then behind it, it's got his name in kind of oil color as well. Speaking of Binshin, I heard that a lot of people were making fun of him because he had attempted to harm himself. I think he had attempted self-harm. And people were like, oh, wow, something's wrong with you. And like, that's recent. Like, recent criticism, which... I don't want this to be like a Debbie Downer live, but come on. Why is it that people are so mean? If somebody's going to open up and say, like, I used to self-harm, maybe they're saying that because they're trying to reach out to the other person who feels like they're alone. So, I don't know what's wrong with folks. Okay, so each of the lyrics has got, like, a little oil painting in the corner. So this is not going to be terribly exciting packaging, but, you know, that's not what we do this for. We do it because we want to keep the art of making CDs alive, even for independence. So yeah, that was a really super quick unboxing. And then the last thing we're going to open is Bonnie's album, which I hope this really is her because once I open it, I can't return it. I feel like this is her. I just feel like maybe she's going by her real name and people... I just never knew what her real name was. Okay. Me, myself, and I'm the ocean. Okay. Yeah, that's her. Okay. I couldn't tell from this picture that it was her, but I can tell from this picture because it is... her eyes. I recognize her eyes very well. Listen to Bonnie's album before you add it, Mason, because if she's not your style, you're going to be upset. But Bonnie, for me, I really, really like her. And I like her because she has a very 90s sounding voice. Hey, Jason. And so, because I was like a teenager in the 90s, I really relate to that sound. Her last album was extremely 90s sounding. And so I love her. And I have all of her releases so far, I believe. So that's the reason why I got this, because I'm just trying to keep up. I think the thing that has been a problem for Bunny, though, Shin Bo Kyung. So that's her real name, apparently. I think the problem for her is that In Planet is a really small label, like really, really small. And usually her videos get, if she's lucky, a few thousand views. And when I say a few thousand, I mean like in the threes. She writes most of her own stuff. She's very, very talented. She has an amazing voice, but she just, she can't gain traction. With every release, it gets worse and worse and worse. And I don't know how to turn the tide. The only thing that would work for her, in my opinion, she would have to have one of those things where like she either is on a soundtrack to an OST, or it would have to be one of those things where somebody who's like really influential, like on Africa TV, plays her music in the background, and all of a sudden she becomes a meme. Like, I can't think of anything else to rescue her career, because it's not for lack of trying. It's not for lack of good music. It really is a lack of exposure and being able to find your niche. And I feel like it almost feels unfair. You have people like Bubblegum, who, not criticizing them at all, Bubblegum, they're talented girls. Everything they release hits it out of the park. They always do really, really well. But all their shit sounds the same to me. And Bonnie, while her stuff can kind of sound the same because she's definitely got a style, I feel like she tries very hard. And so if somebody was to give her even a portion of the attention that a Bubblegum gets right out the gate, she could really go far. She could really go far. And especially when you have people like Sumin and Say and Hoodie and Sudan really making it. I don't know why Bonnie is not getting there. And she's been doing this now. I want to say that she's been working on this music thing for the last 7 or 8 years. She's been releasing albums. So she's not a new artist by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, like, people just don't seem to gel with her. And I don't know what can be done to stop that. Well, not stop, but just to start the engagement. So, I do what I can. I talk about, every time I get one of her albums, I talk about her nonstop, because I believe that people need to get to know her. I think that she could be a lot of people's underground faves. But yeah, outside of the few people that I manage to touch with whatever little bit of visibility I have, I just don't know how to make it work. The only other thing that I think would be a big boost for her, because it was a big boost for Livy before she became Alice Vicious, is if she was to have a really prominent background feature. Like, a lot of people, when Taemin's Drip Drop came out, were like, who's the girl singing with Taemin? It was Livy. And that really was a boost to her. Like, it really gained a lot of interest for her. Now, she kind of squandered that by changing her name to Alice Vicious and releasing some stuff that just is an acquired taste, very much an acquired taste. But for a while there, like, people really wanted to know, who's that girl? And I think if Bunny had a moment like that, where maybe she was a duo partner for somebody, like if she could get on SM Station singing a duet with like a Yes Song, or if she can get on SM Station singing a duet with Dio, like, I think that I think their voices would sound really good together. But if she could get on SM doing that, I think people would really be interested and they'd want to know who she is. And I think that she'd gain a little bit more traction. But yeah, she's from In Planet, and I don't know anyone else on In Planet. So I have no idea what's going to happen with her career. And I worry about it. I worry that this is going to be the last album I get from her. It's always a consideration. But yeah, these are my kind of indie things, my items. I'm very happy with what I got here. I'm very happy with everything that I showed you guys this evening. It's all been super lovely. Um, and I have recorded the Japanese albums of my Shiny collection, so I'm not sure when I should put that up. So the last thing I need to record are my Korean albums, and then I'll finally be done recording my Shiny collection. It's taken now almost 2 weeks to do, and I'm almost tired of looking at it because I'll film and then I'll mess up after 20 minutes and have to redo the whole thing, and it's just not fun. It's not fun. So yeah, I'm trying to make my way through that, but it's been a struggle. It really, really has. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to talk about. Oh, one last thing I'm going to talk about because I feel like it's important to talk about it because I don't know if anybody else is struggling with trying to be a better person. But I believe was it Sunday or Monday? I cannot recall now. The rapper Nipsey Hussle was killed outside of his store. He was shot by someone who hated him, basically. And because that person hated him, they felt the need to kill him, and they hated him because they were jealous of him. They hated him because of opportunities that he had that they didn't have. And so rather than trying to pull themselves up, they decided to pull him down. And Nipsey Hussle is not an artist that I listen to personally. I don't have the same kind of connection with him that a lot of other people have. But there were a lot of people who felt very emotional about him because he was a person who was investing in his community. He was a person who was buying back the properties in these impoverished neighborhoods and building something new and something fun and something that would be a spiritual generation for the people in his community. He was helping to invest in STEM education for children in the area that he grew up in. And he was trying to invest in the store that he was killed outside of was a smart store. So he was trying to provide the economic avenues that other people in other communities had that his community didn't have. So he was spending his money and doing it there. And he was becoming a self-made man. He owned his own masters, he promoted his own music, he didn't answer to a record label or a record company. And so, he was really doing a lot of big things. Not only that, but as a rapper in today's SoundCloud era where misogyny is at an all-time high and it's almost impossible to be a woman and listen to rap music and not feel devalued, he was very public about his love for his longtime partner and their child. And he didn't put it out there like, I've got all the women. He was very proud of the woman he had. And so for that reason alone, it was a source of pride for him, and it was a point of pride for the people that were fans of his. I say all that to say, I'm listing all these good points here because Nipsey Hussle was not without fault, just like any human being. And a part of his uplifting of the community was also him decrying kind of the feminization of the black man through gay black men. And it's an ugly thing to have to discuss because when somebody passes away, you want to only think about the positive things. But you have to be real. We all have our faults, and we all are defined by everything that we do, not just the good things. And because of his statements regarding homosexual black men, someone on Twitter whose username is Luna's Fag, which I'm not saying that to call them that. That's literally their username, LOONASFAG. They posted a series of jokes about Nipsey Hussle's death, about him dodging bullets, and all manner of other things because of the homophobic remarks he's made. And it really angered me to see that because, yes, what he had to say about gay black men is ugly. And as a person who is a black person who has been involved with the gay community, either through friendships or working at a gay bar, which I did when I was a young person, and, just basically trying to make sure that I'm a safe place for the people who need comfort. I don't like that he said those things. But I also realized that this was a person who was constantly evolving. This was a person who went from being a gangbanger, drug dealer into trying to uplift his community. And who's to say that given enough time, since he died at 33, he wouldn't have had an opportunity to change his opinion about that? Even Jay-Z talked poorly about gay people because his mother was gay and he and his mother had their issues. But later on, he came to embrace gay people. You know, his wife, of course, has always been an ally. And he's changed. And now in his 40s, Jay-Z is a different man. And who's to say that that couldn't have happened for Nipsey Hussle? But applauding a person's death because of a few bad things that they've said when they've done so much overwhelming good, that's really ugly. That's really ugly. And as someone who has mourned the death of a celebrity, I know there were people who did not feel that Jongin deserved the attention that he got in his death, because there were people who said that he himself had belittled women and a few other kind of, in my opinion, nonsensical things. But at the end of the day, I know what it's like to be a person trying to improve yourself. And I've said some things, even on this channel, I'm not proud of. And when I've caught myself, I've tried to correct myself. And at my age, I'm constantly seeing where the things I say can hurt people. And I'm constantly rethinking the way I approach life and how I've referred to things and what I've said and how to be better. And it comes with age, it comes with experience, it comes with knowing better. And I just don't think it's ever appropriate to revel in the death of somebody who was actively trying to be better. You know, Jordan says, I think just because someone did questionable things doesn't mean you should sink to a certain level. People think saying terrible things is excused if that person did something they don't agree with. I see I see where you're coming from, and I totally agree. It's like, if you said something I don't like, that gives me license to be as ugly to you as you've been to me. Like, and I mentioned it before when I was talking about the whole Burning Sun situation. You know, people have said awful things about the women who have supported Sangri, even though a lot of those women supported Sangri when the facts weren't completely clear, when it wasn't obvious that this was a true thing. And once it became true, a lot of them became very quiet because then they had to go through their own grieving process for the person they thought they knew. But the retorts have been, you stupid bitches and you dumb hoes. And it's more than ironic that people who proclaim to be feminist and are like, well, what about the victims? You're using the same language about these women who have been fans that these men used about their victims, where they're hoes and they're sluts and they're this, that, and the other. And it's just like, you invalidate your point. You invalidate your point when you decide to be ugly. Because how is it any better for a person like Nipsey Russell to have said something negative about gay men, and then you saying something negative about a husband and a father being murdered in the street trying to do nice things for the place he came from? You know, the logical jump there, I don't see where it comes from. I don't see where people do that and think that it's okay. You know? And again, like I said, Nipsey Hussle was not a person that I followed tremendously in his life, but I knew about a lot of the things he was doing in his life, particularly because in Nipsey's career, he had a mixtape that he was selling for $100. No, it was $1,000 a CD, I believe. And he only had like 100 copies, and he was selling them for $1,000 a piece. And people were like, are you serious? Who's going to pay $1,000 for a CD? But he's like, you know what? I believe in myself, and I believe, you know, people are driven by supply and demand because it's exclusive. I think there are people who are going to buy it. And sure enough, there were people who were in a good financial position that they bought it, and they bought it for clout, because it's just like owning an iPod and AirPods and things like that. People buy things just to show people I got it and you don't. And he understood that about supply and demand. And it was a genius move on his part. But it was also a statement to the record labels and the record companies who take advantage of young artists and say the only way to make it is through us. And that's how you end up with the Lou Pearlmans of the world who molest young boys in the name of fame. And for him to be able to say, I can sell 1,000 units, I can sell 100 units out of my truck at $1,000 a piece, and I can make my name that way. You don't have to lay yourself bare in front of these record companies in order to make it. That's a huge social statement. And I remember looking at that moment and being very impressed because I grew up with a pop music culture where people would do anything to be signed by a record label, at the point of allowing themselves to be molested, harassed, abused, taken advantage of, left broke, and practically starving out here in these streets with nothing to show for the years of work they put in. You know, you listen to TLC talk about how during the height of Waterfalls, they were broke, had no money. Even though they had an album that was selling millions, they had no money. Recently, today, the Boy Band Con, it's a documentary that's being released on YouTube. If you have YouTube Red, you can watch it, talks about how Lou Pearlman basically set up the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and all these other boy bands in order for him not only to rob these men of the money that they earn from selling millions of albums, but also to give him entreaty into being able to take advantage of young men and molest young teenage men. And then after the boy band thing was over, he spent the remainder of his free years defrauding old people. He was a monster. But again, that idea that the only way to get on is to go through these people, anyone who can break that cycle, that's a wonderful thing. So, let's see. Miranda says, yeah, like you put yourself in their friends and family's place. Would you like it if someone said nice things about your dead family member or friend? And then Shine Baby Muse says, yeah, back in the day, music labels had a lot more power and notoriety, and people felt like the only place to go to reach their dreams. Yeah. So, you know, that's why I say it's just, we all have things that we would not like to be remembered for. And if we could do it again, maybe we wouldn't. And if we were given more time, we'd understand why we wouldn't do those things. But I don't feel good about anyone making fun of death at all. And also because, like, if you make fun of a death in my family, we got to bare knuckle box. Like, period, point blank. There's no talking it out. We have got to box because I won't have it. I absolutely won't have it. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Food for thought, guys. Food for thought. But thank you for joining me. It has now been about an hour. And I appreciate you guys always. If you have any questions about anything, please let me know. Stephanie's reading a book. I'm going to show you guys the book that Stephanie's reading because she's not out here. She saw me recording and she went right back to her room. But she's reading this book, We Are Okay. I bought this for at Sam's Club because it was really cheap. It was only like $7. But it has a really interesting synopsis. So you see the synopsis right there. Basically, according to what I read from here, I have no idea what the actual story is about. This girl basically goes through a tragedy and like picks up her wallet and leaves and doesn't tell anybody anything after she leaves. And then she has to go back and have an encounter with an old friend. And that's when she kind of has to tell the tale of why she left, what actually transpired that caused her to leave her old life behind, which I think is a great premise for a story. I don't know if it's written well or not, but I mean, how many of us have ever thought about like just leaving behind all the things that hurt us? Like just picking up our bag and hitting the road and never looking back. But then if you really did that, like if you really truly cut off ties, like I'm never going to be seen again, what would you do if someone you cared about confronted you about the fact that you left behind without a word? How would that conversation go? What could you even say? And is it more important to protect yourself and just cut off right away? Or do you owe people in your lives explanations? Do you owe them the chance to comfort you? It's a big thought. And that kind of goes in line with a tweet that I retweeted But the person that I retweeted, they erased the tweet. But somebody tweeted something about like, do you ever realize that you're nobody's favorite? That if something was to happen to you, nobody would care, or the person that's got you stressed out because you're fighting with them, they don't even care about the fact that you're fighting with them. And it made me really sad, and I said so. But it's just like, how do you let people know that you care about them and then believe it? Like if I tell you, I always tell you guys, I love you guys and I'm really glad to have you here, but how much of my love for you do you really believe I have? Like seriously, how much do you think I care about you? You probably think, oh, these are niceties that are said because that's what you're supposed to say if you're a grateful person. And, of course, she's not going to say, I hate you guys. She's going to say, I love you guys. But, how much care do you think I actually have for you? And it's a question I ask myself all the time because there are people that I'm close to on YouTube and Twitter and things like that, that when I don't hear from them after a while, I get scared because our relationship exists on an electronic plane. It doesn't exist anywhere else. It's not like we have anything else to tie us, but maybe a few of them I have phone numbers, but for most of them I have a username and that's it. And if something was to happen, I would be really at a loss for knowing what happened. And so, while in this book, this is somebody leaving their hometown never to be heard from again, it is so easy on the internet to just disappear and never be heard from again. It is so easy on the internet just to post one last post and it be innocuous and then just be gone. And it could be gone because something happened to you, or be gone because you couldn't log into the account anymore and there was no way to notify people, be gone because you decided to take your own life into your hands. Like there's so many things that could happen and people just disappear. And I think sometimes people disappear and want to come back, but then they don't want to face the question of, why did you leave? Why didn't you let me know? And so I don't know, that idea of just disappearing, that's always been a very intriguing idea for me. But yeah, that's been on my mind as of late. And so this has been another morose unboxing with Sam. Enjoy Shawl 360 as she gets meditative, but these are the questions you have to ask. These are the questions you have to ask because we live this life and we don't live this life alone. And so, anything that we can do to improve the way that we interact with each other, anything we do to provide insights as to why we interact with people the way we do, all it can do is improve our lot in life and maybe give us more comfort in our understanding. Because one of the things that perpetuates fear is lack of understanding. People don't understand things and it scares them. So the more we attempt to understand ourselves and each other, the better this world will be. So thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate your presence and I will talk to you guys